lit.
And once again, we back with another episode of Lit Podcast. And I got my boy PNUT in the building. You know what I'm saying? You know how we do it. You know what I'm saying? We honor our artists, our producers, our promoters, our DJs, and everything that got to do with music. You know what I'm saying? Coming out the Triple D. Man, if you don't know about it, man, tell the world about you, man. This PNUT.
I am DJ PNUT, otherwise known as PNUT the Producer Extraordinaire, Campus Kings, DJ PNUT, aka Payday. Got a lot of little aliases that I've accumulated over the years. Been in the game since the late 90s. Been heavy in the Dallas game since like late 90s, early 2000s. Pretty much everything that happens in this city, I got some piece of it, some part of it, whether it is from producing, engineering, manufacturing, distribution, management, brokerage, art design. Like, I got my hands in a little bit of everything.
So tell us, okay, I see distribution, art design, and producing. Cause let's talk about the production. Who you done produced for? Like,
well, I started out in '94, and
okay.
that was when I was fresh out of high school, and everybody in Arlington. I live in Arlington, AGG Town, to the most.
AGG Town.
As a matter of fact, me and my crew, we were the ones who originated that term, aggravated lifestyles. There was a bunch of us out there that wanted to do music, but at that time there weren't very many plugs at all. The city was really fresh, and there were only a couple of artists that were out doing things, and we didn't have any guidance, we didn't have anybody to show us the way, so we just all in the city clicked up and kind of did our own thing. You know, I was one of the cats that didn't feel that my rap skills were tight, so I started grabbing equipment. I started DJing first, because, you know, when you're young, you catch your inspirations, and at that time, Rap City and Yo MTV Raps and stuff like that was the big thing as far as getting the music. So you sit down, you look at the videos, and you always see that guy in the background with the turntables. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's the dude that makes the music.
Right.
So I went and got the turntables and learned how to DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And as time went on, I realized that I had limitations with just looping records, making beats. And I'm like, okay, so there's another stage to it. Then a cat of mine hit me up. He was like, man, you ain't got no sampler or drum machine. I'm like, a sampler or drum machine? What the fuck is that?
Right.
So I go to Guitar Center, and dude showed me an ASR-10. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get that. So I get the ASR-10, bring it home, link it up with my turntables, and just start knocking out beats. It was me and my partner, Cho. And we produced everybody out of Arlington. At the time, everybody was...
Who was around at that time?
It was Chocolate City, Apatomed, So What. We were doing work with cats in Dallas. It was a clique called IGP.
Okay.
Mad Flavor was the main group out of IGP. They had gotten a deal with Priority.
Okay.
So what they were doing was they were bringing people to Deep Ellum at the time.
Right.
There was a club called Exodus.
Exodus.
And they were bringing through everybody major at that point in time. It was like Gangstar came through. Who was the other one? Tribe Called Quest came through. Mad Lion. Foosh Nickens, like everybody that was hot at that time. Souls of Mischief.
Okay.
Everybody that was hot at that time, IGP was bringing in. It was a promoter named K-Son, and he was like the head of IGP. And we would go to him and be like, yo, put us on, let's get shows. So while we were doing that, they started recognizing that we had something different in the way of production. Like our stuff sounded different than what they had.
Right.
So they started hooking us up with different stuff. They were the ones who were bringing us to the radio stations and putting us in the bigger studios. That was the same time that Erykah was coming up. It was my group, which was Apatomed.
Okay.
Headcrack's group, Headcrack from Ricky Smiley Morning Show.
Yeah.
Headcrack's group, which was Boondocks.
Okay.
It was Erykah and her cousin Free. They were called Erykah Free at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then another group called Shabazz 3, which was Ty Macklin, Fats, and Bobby. Fats is the cat that runs most of the big shows out in Deep Ellum right now to this day.
Okay.
Ty is the one that did like a lot of engineering and production for Erykah's first album.
Right.
So we would all like link up together, click together, and do shows not only in the Metroplex, but go hit the road. We go hit
Okay.
Austin, we go hit Houston, Waco, San Antonio, Oklahoma, Mississippi. We just like do our own little pork chop circuit.
Okay.
And doing that, you get experience when you're
Right.
in the mix like that. I started getting into studio engineering. A brother by the name of Marty Arredondo out in Fort Worth had a studio called Max Tracks. And he had all the equipment but didn't have an engineer. So I go in there one day with Picasso and James. At the time they had a group called Dysfunctional. Picasso is still out doing this thing right now. He was with PPT, the group that won the Dallas Mavericks competition a few years back. It was Picasso, Picnic, and Tahiti.
Okay.
They were like real hot for like a year and a half
Right.
because they were getting all that pub from the Dallas Observer and
Right,
Mavericks.
right.
And then James Shepard, who runs the Eargasm record chain,
Yeah.
they had a group called Dysfunctional.
Right.
So we go into the studio one day and the dude is like, look, I'll give you free studio time for the pub, but you gotta supply your own engineer because I don't have an engineer. So they looked at me and they were like, you think you could work this equipment? And I was like, give me a couple of days, I'll figure it out.
Right.
They literally locked me in the studio for 4 days with nothing but the brochures and the equipment. And I sat there for 4 days and taught myself how to studio engineer, been studio engineering ever since.
That's how it go.
Real shit.
That's how it go. Get in there and learn.
So once I had that under my belt, once I was
Right.
able to produce, engineer, it was time to start conquering the next phase, which was getting the music out there.
Okay.
Now see, back then it was a little bit different
Right.
because you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have the internet. You just basically, it was blanket promotion, streets.
We had the internet back then, but it wasn't like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause you remember back then, you remember we had, you had to pay to go to.
It was
yeah.
still what they call that? It was real player. It wasn't MP3s. It was some other form that
It
was
was
like,
it was.
it sounded like
something
AM radio.
else. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. and-
Because, dude, the internet radio station that Mark Cuban made all his money off of. That company, they had a internet radio show at the time. Bobby was running it, and we went and did the show a couple of times, but never thought nothing of it.
Right.
And like about a year and a half later, he sold it for like what, 22 billion or something like that. It was
Yeah.
crazy. Like we didn't recognize for what it was back then because we were so systemized and used to thinking a specific way when
Right.
it came to, if you weren't getting played on K104, if you weren't getting played on 100.3, if you weren't getting played on 97.9, you know, if you weren't getting your stuff on Rap City and things of that nature, you weren't doing it.
You weren't doing
So
it.
that's what we were aspiring. That's what we were
Right.
aspiring to. We were trying to get to that level.
Right.
So me and Headcrack went and got jobs with Polygram. Polygram had a big
Yeah, no
distribution center down here,
Mhm.
and we got jobs with TJ Miller.
Okay.
And he put us on, had us out doing street promotions and picking up artists and getting them set up with their shows and all kinds of other stuff. And then they hired Shannon Henderson. Shannon Henderson was Puffy's personal assistant. They
Okay.
brought her down to Dallas, and she was the one who basically gave me and Headcrack the game. Because I invited her to a studio session one day, and when she came in, she looked at it and she was like, "Damn, Puffy don't even do this." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "You do everything." And I was like, "So does he?" She was like, "No, he don't." I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "He's a producer." And I'm like, "I'm a producer." And
Right.
she was like, "No,
Right.
he's a producer. You're a producer." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" He was like, "A producer is the person that comes in, has the vision, organizes the project, and makes sure that everything moves to the working parts.
Right.
Your ass sits up in here, and you are the moving part."
Right.
And I was like, mind blown by that point. I was like, oh, okay, well,
Mhm.
well, that means that I'm one up in the game then, because I could just take the thought process of my hands on and then put my brain power to it, the stuff that I've learned, and put stuff out.
Right.
So at that point, I grabbed up all the little groups that I was fucking with, and I
Mhm.
put together mixtapes because I
Okay.
had a connection through Cap at the Bomb over at Big T.
Yeah.
He would buy,
Yeah.
he would buy my masters
Mhm.
and then put them out. You know what I'm saying? So he'd buy my master for $75.
Okay.
At the time, I was like, that's cool.
Right.
What I didn't realize what was happening was he was buying my master for $75, pressing up like 1,000 copies of it and selling it all over Texas. So I had my groups all over these mixtapes
Right.
and not realizing that I was bubbling.
Right.
You know, people were knowing who I was.
Getting that buzz.
So we were keeping on grinding. Back in '98, I had a artist named Jalo.
Okay.
And the music that we were making was of our own design. It wasn't necessarily East Coast, it wasn't necessarily West Coast, it wasn't necessarily Southern, it was just our own little gumbo, what we were doing.
Right, just music.
Right. But we got tired of always having to break in. We wanted something that was just going to pop.
Right.
So we sat up and we just brainstormed stuff that was going to hit at the club that we were frequenting the most of the time, and it was a club called Midpoint out in Arlington.
Okay.
So we wanted to make something that was going to just instantly pop at Midpoint. So we made a song called Where I'm From.
Club.
Yeah. We made a song called Where I'm From, and made it, took it to DJ Wody, who was the main DJ there at the time.
DJ Wody.
DJ Wody, R.I.P.
Shout out DJ
R.I.P.
You know, shout out to the whole fam, you know what I'm saying? R.I.P. You know how
took
it
it to
goes.
Wody, who was the main DJ at the time. Wody was like, this is fire.
Right.
So he started playing.
Mm-hmm.
From there, Dallas Long, who was just an overall around everything, he was rapping, one of the #1 street hustlers in our city, the whole nine. He had a whole lot of connections over at Peepin' Toms, which was a big strip club at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He took it to Peepin' Toms.
Right.
The girls at Peepin' Toms liked it. They started dancing to it. Then Cocoa Butter heard it from K104.
Yeah.
He took it to Battle of the Beats. It beat out Pookie and Lucci's record on Battle of the Beats.
Mm-hmm.
So by that point in time,
Rollo style.
yeah, because basically now K104, there are 37 stations that program from K104. So if K104 adds you to rotation, you're automatically added to the rotation of 34 more stations.
Right.
So we went from being citywide to being whole Southwest region literally in like 3 weeks. We had record labels beating down our door. We had distributors trying to get the CDs, the whole nine, like in a matter of a month. And the learning curve on that is interesting because you kind of, learn as you go.
You learn as you go. You ain't.
But
you're just making music. You know what I'm saying?
we took it literally from the studio to the club to national in 6 months, with no record label, no real budget, no real push. You know what I'm saying? Everybody would always talk about, man, the only way you're going to get on K104 is if you pay this and do that. We never gave K104 a dime.
Okay.
We never gave 97.9 a dime. We took it directly to the streets. The streets was like, we want this. And they had no choice but to roll with it. And that was what started the shift from doing just independent local stuff to actually dealing with labels and dealing with artists and groups and things of that nature.
So you've been producing for labels lately?
Lately, yes and no. I'm back in the independent market
Independent
now.
market, right.
I'm still, I do work with Dirty Water, which is Lil Ronnie and all them. CKB, which is Fat Pimp and Trey Ward and all them. I do stuff with NBA.
NBA?
Yeah. Yep.
So what it was like being a producer and having a label coming and just like really almost owning your work?
Well,
or was it like that for you?
Actually, I had a couple of different situations. The first one was the label coming, picking you up as a producer, assigning you their groups, and once they do that, depending on how you negotiate it, is what you get out of it. You know, at that time it was basically some upfront money and a point share. But the destiny of the music is up to the label, and what you do is up to the label. Like, so say for instance, I'm signed with Universal, which I was at the time, and I've got 3 groups that I'm producing for. I have to clear it with Universal before I could allow them to put anything out, if they want to put my name on it. Because I did a lot of stuff for my people at the time to where I just didn't put my name on it to prevent it from being a problem. So it was like, okay, here's the track, it is what it is. They gave me the money for it, I was good. Now, there's an offshoot of that. When you start getting a sales record, it changes the dynamics of your contract. A lot of times in your contract there's a clause saying that if you have a sales record of this amount, or if you sell this amount, you can instantly go back into renegotiation for your contract.
A composition clause.
Right. So I hit that mark and instantly went back in and renegotiated everything down to where I had more control, and then I was able to negotiate a P&D deal to where I was able to start bringing in other groups and doing my own thing with more. Daryl Allenby, 2000 Watts Music.
Okay.
He was the one that walked me into that.
Okay.
He did Silk, Lauryn Hill, Nas, LL Cool J, Allure. He was doing dang near the whole Trackmasters catalog from 97 to 2005, 2006.
That was he coming out too then.
Yeah.
Silk had took a break and then came out with a 5-1. Yeah.
And that was all him. That was all Daryl. That was all him.
So have you ever? What about publishing? Have you ever got any publishing royalties? And you started getting publishing royalties?
I got audited over that.
Mm.
See, okay, nobody told me you got a kid that's going from getting a paycheck from a job,
right,
where they take out your Social Security tax,
right,
the whole nine, to a kid that's getting a big ass chunk of change in a check and being like, bet, just throwing it directly in the bank.
Right.
Come on, man, you can't put more than $10,000 in the bank without it flagging.
Right.
And then even deeper than that, the record labels don't send you they don't send you a royalty check, but the tax is taken out. You gotta do that on your own.
You gotta do that on your
so
own.
I'm throwing these checks in and doing this and doing that, doing that. Next thing you know, I'm like,
it's that adding up.
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, nah. For everybody out there, study that, because the IRS don't play at all.
Oh no, IRS don't play. You know what I'm saying?
IRS don't play.
But it's just a quick nowadays. It's a quick call. Get it set up. You know what I'm saying? What about like what company you with, far as registering your music? BMI, ASCAP. How long you been with ASCAP?
I've been with ASCAP since damn near the beginning. Yeah, in the beginning. A lot of people at that time frame were going to BMI because they were working more for the independent artists.
Right.
But I always foresaw an issue with that. Like I was always like, I could do that, but that's not what my goal is for the long term.
Right.
Because I was always shooting for something different, so I just went directly with them, and they've always worked out really well for me.
All right.
I don't really have any complaints with ASCAP.
So is you familiar with let's say split sheets? So you already know about who gets what, artists, whatever.
Well, I know how it went for my split sheets, but like from what I understand, there's like different variations depending on what you're doing and what the project is and things like that.
Like if it's co-producing, and
all or if it's a work for hire, or stuff like that.
It depends on the contract.
And speaking of work for hire, that's another thing that a lot of producers don't understand as far as when they're doing catalogs.
Right.
I had DreamWorks come to me. It was a time frame where I was a little bit low on money, and we were doing a lot of stuff. Actually, Headcrack was doing a lot of stuff with media. Okay. He had gotten involved with 979. He was on the radio every night with it was the Headcrack Super King Keynote show, and they were doing a lot of stuff as far as like commercials, overdubs, voice dubs, movies, television shows, stuff like that.
Right.
So he had gotten some connections with DreamWorks. He hooked me up with the guy, and the guy basically was like, I want to buy a catalog from you for placement music.
Okay.
I didn't even know what that meant at the time.
Right.
So I rounded up all the stuff that I figured nobody would rap to. Because at the time, my brain hadn't processed that there's different facets of the music industry as a producer.
Right.
I was just thinking that I make a beat, it goes to a rapper. I make a beat, it goes to a singer.
Right.
Somebody calls me for this. I didn't know about, commercials, movies, video games. I didn't know about any of that.
Steam.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, send me a Steam.
Right. So I put 14 beats together in the catalog.
Right.
And it was a work for hire situation. They wrote me out a check. I was happy with that check at the time, but at that point, it was all theirs. They could do whatever they want to with it.
Oh, so they got exclusive.
What I didn't realize was, as long as it's within the realm of a movie, television show, or the clincher, soundtrack, they could do whatever they want to with it. Man, I was hearing my shit popping up on movie soundtracks, commercials, hit singles.
Right.
I'm not even going to go into the stuff that's mine, that's not mine.
Right.
But the irony of it is,
the work for hire.
Look, I'm gonna tell young producers this right now. The irony of it is, the biggest works I have ever done in my career, I don't get any credit because of that. So just imagine you produced Jay-Z's last album.
Right.
And everybody in the world is jamming to it. But your name ain't nowhere on the credit. And you ain't getting a royalty check for it.
Yeah, man. But I think that's why the game is reversing like it is now. You know, a lot of people doing it independently. And then a lot of people who doing it independently still don't understand, like, it's a business.
Yep.
Like, it's a full out business. Even though this is your passion, this is what you love to do, but it's a business. Like me and my artists, like, we go through the struggle every day. We sit here, like we say, we do our own ASCAP, we do our own sound exchange, we do our own publishing, distribution, through TuneCore or whoever we feel like at the time who we want to distribute through. You know what I'm saying? That's giving us something,
right?
With, you know, that's publishing something that's incredible for us or something like that. It's like, it's all a business.
Yep.
It's like, you know, you gotta cross your T's and dot your I's, man.
Yeah, when it comes to the foundation work of what you do have to be very thorough with it.
Right.
And then at the same time, you also have to have a thought process of where you want to go.
Right.
You know, a lot of people don't look at the big picture of what it is that they're doing. We're so busy caught up in the steps to get there that you kind of lose focus on how big it could actually be. When I first got into the print industry, when I started doing graphics and design, it was out of necessity because I didn't want to pay anybody else to do my covers because A, they were charging me too much, and B, they weren't sticking to my schedules.
Right.
Another thing I'm gonna get into later was when I got into the mixtape game. But when you're during the mixtape game heyday, it was all via deadline. Because the way that we would do it is we would get that one hot joint that nobody had heard yet, and we had to rush to get it out into the streets before some other DJ got us.
Right.
So if I get that hot joint, because at that time I was high enough to where the record labels were calling me directly and being like, "We've got this. Email it to me. I listen to it. Boom. It's got to hit the streets now." I call somebody to do my album cover, and they take 3 weeks. I've already been scooped. There's been 2 other DJs that have dropped since then. I don't have time for that. So I started doing my own graphics, and I got really good at it.
Right.
So I was like, okay, cool, another income stream. When I first started getting into that, I went into it on a level of trying to undercut my way in. Like, I'll do the same thing that this person is doing for less money and faster. And it got me in the door, but it was spinning my wheels.
Right.
And it took another graphic design guy that had a successful company in Tarrant County to be like, "You're messing up. You're charging for time. It takes you 3 hours." There's somebody that does everything.
Right.
So it's like, you could split it up. You could have a engineer and then a producer and then a graphic design, because there's a bunch of them out there.
Right.
And they've got a structured ecosystem to where these people are branded and known for certain things. So you actually get notoriety for messing with these people. If you have this particular engineer, his name holds weight. If you have this producer, his name holds weight. If you have this artist doing your stuff, his name holds weight. In Dallas, there's really no organized, structured ecosystem. So because of that, we become moguls out of necessity.
Right.
We do everything, but at the same time, it adds to the talent pool, because we look at things in a total 360 to where everybody else is just kind of one-dimensional.
Right.
Like you take an artist from another market and you stick them in the studio by themselves. What's going to happen? They're going to sit there and wait for everybody else to show up. You take a nigga from Dallas and stick him in the studio by himself and watch what happens.
They're going to learn everything.
Everything in that bitch. Because that's the way we were raised.
Right.
You know, you got to get it done.
Right. But see, that's the thing too, the lack of structure. It's like a lot of people, a lot of people don't want to think. That's one thing. That's one thing. Then a lot of people feel like people own something, and that's not everybody, but the majority of the people. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause they feel like this stuff just fall out the sky.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
The rap fairy.
Yeah.
Yo, son, you gonna put me on, son? You gonna put me on?
Yeah, like it's like, man, come on, man. It's not even like that. Like, man, it's like it's a real business.
You know, I think that a lot of people don't understand the smoke and mirrors behind it. Can I bum one of those off you?
Man, go ahead, man. Smoke and mirrors is the truth
Right.
about the music.
But the thing is they get wrapped up in the smoke and mirrors aspect of it, thinking that that's really what's going on. Like they start doing music and rapping because they want to partake in that fake lifestyle.
Right.
You know, everything
They don't know it's fake.
They don't know it's fake.
They don't
really
know it's
don't.
fake.
They don't. Half the stuff that you see portrayed on social media that you are holding on to like it's gospel is literally smoke and mirrors. They set the whole thing up. My brother Boogie broke me down with a scenario. You create your thought process of the way people look at you in increments of 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, or an hour. 30 seconds and 60 seconds a commercial. 1 minute is an interview. 5 minutes is an interview or a video. 30 minutes is a television show, hour is a movie. Now, the whole world thinks that they know every single celebrity based upon those increments of time. So the person that masters those increments of time masters his own personal destiny. And the successful ones do. But the downfall of that is that the people who are looking at these increments of time think that they know this person inside and out based upon those increments of time. So if you're a youngster that's looking at this,
Right.
you think you really know what's going on. Think about how many people went to go see 8 Mile and thought that they had the blueprint to turn into a battle rapper / popular cat based upon what they saw on 8 Mile.
Everybody at that time thought they were battle rappers.
Think about how many people went to go see Hustle and Flow and thought that you could go get a regular handheld microphone, a beat up drum machine, go to your backyard
With
and
a
go get
Casio.
the chick that you were pimping to sing on it,
Right.
and just go take it to the radio station,
Right.
and you were gonna blow up. It don't work like
It
that.
don't work like that.
But that's the smoke and mirrors.
Man, you got people who still think certain actors, if that's certain actor, you see bro man, that's bro man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nah, man, that man got a whole nother life, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You see Eddie Griffin, you either think of Beverly Hills Cops or goddamn me, Dr. Doolittle.
Right.
You're like, nah, man, that man got a whole nother life.
But like I always tell the youngsters, I'm generations deep in this, and a lot of people who y'all are jamming right now and y'all look at as staples in this city came up underneath of me. You know, I always tell them that if you're not in this because you legitimately love music, if you're in this for the money, if you're in it for the notoriety, if you're in it for anything other than the fact that you legitimately love this fucking music,
Right.
stop. Go do something else. You
Do
can
something
make more
else.
money and you can get more notoriety because
Right.
there is a lot
You can be a
of
doctor,
hard work.
a lawyer.
You're gonna work harder. You're gonna work harder being
Yeah.
an artist than you work being a doctor or being a lawyer. And even deeper than that, all the time that you put behind the schooling and the things that you have to do to be those, you're guaranteed to get something out of it. You ain't guaranteed shit in the entertainment industry.
Unless you're a CEO or you the distribution company
Right,
or you the outlets.
right.
If you the outlets, that's, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you ain't gonna understand it. But if you truly love it, that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? And then if that get you somewhere, if that does bring in money for you, invest it into something that's gonna be stable. You gotta have some type of concrete, some type of boundary, because you know if you don't, you just gonna be like you say, smoke and mirrors.
Yep.
Smoke and mirrors. You're gonna be right there when that camera come on. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's how I mean, I see it.
Yep.
I've been around a lot. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny because now everything is fake reality based.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's based on reality, but people understand that it's based off of reality. So what they do is they embellish that reality.
Right.
You know, and you know, it started with the reality shows. You know, everybody thinking that basically you walk into a room, you turn on a camera, and you record everything that's going on. Reality shows are scripted, they're set up. You know, so when you're seeing these things, they've already been pre-thought of. There's a production team that puts it together. You know, the whole nine. Well, people try and emulate that also, and they try and basically act a fool in order to get notoriety.
Yeah.
And sometimes that works,
Yeah.
but more often than not, it doesn't, and they're stuck. You know,
Looking
they're
like
stuck.
with that image.
There's a lot of different facets to the game. if you choose to go that route. Like if you think that you're going to stick in one position, like I'm only going to be a producer, then fine. I'm only going to be a DJ, then fine. But if you're going to be one of those 360 artists that does everything, you have to understand every single facet of this industry before you move forward. Because something is going to hit you out of left field. My father used to always tell me, don't ever pay anybody for something that you don't know how to do. Only pay somebody for something that you don't have time to do.
Right.
So you gotta learn it, so you know whether or not the person who you paying is fucking you, or you've been doing it right.
Right.
So
I had a problem talking with one of my partners about that, about, you know, people getting his publishing and this and this and that, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, and if he wasn't necessarily trying to fuck you, just at the same time, you know, you gotta know them things, man. You say these percentages and all this stuff, when it get documented, man, it's in there.
I live my life based upon other people's horror stories. The first real person that ever took any interest in my music when I was very young was the lead singer of War, Howard Scott.
Okay.
I went to school with his daughter. And she would always go home talking about the guys at her school that rap at the lunch table and, you know, got the little demos floating around and stuff like that. I was at Guitar Center one day playing with a W30, and he heard the drum beats that I was making. And he walked up, he was like, oh, young man, you're pretty good. You know, how long you been doing this?
Right.
And I broke down, you know, how long I've been doing it, who I was. He was like, oh, you know, my daughter Ebony. And I was like, oh, yeah. She told me that her dad was, you know, in the music industry. I didn't know who it was.
Right.
You know? I'll never forget the first time he ever popped over my house, my mother almost had a heart attack. She was a huge War fan. So she had heard about me. You know, we did all the recording in my room at the house. I turned my closet into a little makeshift booth.
Right.
And I got a Tascam 4-track.
So
I had Tascam 4-track, an ASR 10, 2 turntables, and a regular microphone. I had everybody come to the house and record. We do a little demo.
Right.
So he wanted to come by the house and check us out one day. So he comes knock on the door. Mom answers the door, and she's like, "Hi." He's like, "Hey, how you doing? You know, I'm Howard Scott. Oh, I know who you are."
Yeah.
From that day on, my mother was kind of like, "Okay, all right, I see you doing it." You know what I'm saying? Because I just had somebody famous come to that.
Right.
But he was in the middle of going through an insane lawsuit at the time. Basically, he didn't own the rights to any of his music. He didn't even own the rights to the name War. When the lawsuit was over, they had to choose between whether they got to keep the name War or whether they got the royalties behind War.
Shit.
They chose the royalties. And the record label went and put an entirely different group of people together, called them War, and had them out performing on the road the catalog that they were able to keep.
Damn right. Yep. That's why I would have kept the name. Keep the royalty you got right now, because
you know the reason why he chose the royalties? He spent $250,000 for lawyers on the lawsuit. Lawsuits aren't free, bro.
No.
And even deeper than that, the one thing you find when you start getting into these lawsuits is these record labels got better lawyers than us.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you gotta realize they lawyers, they were well knitted, as we say, well knitted.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's why it's like better off independent. You know what I mean?
And that's what he did. He went back. He still had all of his connections, all of everything.
Right.
He still had his name, Howard Scott. So what he did was he broke it down and like did a Prince, Howard Scott from the group War. And started producing younger artists and, you know, selling off the catalog to be sampled and stuff like that. That's why like in the late 90s you heard a big surgence of people sampling Cisco Kid and all the other songs that he had for, you know, especially on the West Coast. You know, everybody was sampling that.
Everybody was doing Cisco Kid.
Yeah, he did that, and he got paid.
Method,
he got paid off all that. That's how he got out from underneath all that. You know, and he had me programming drums for a lot of that stuff. Like he would bring me in and I would program the drums. He'd arrange it and stuff like that. I learned a lot from that dude, Joe. I learned a lot from him. It was what introduced me to the treachery of the music industry. And see, not everybody has that intro. You know, you hear the stories.
Well, it'd be mainly everybody besides the CEO. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't the CEO, it's just like really, it's like the artists always have that hard time. Not saying it ain't been the artists that made certain breakthroughs. You know what I'm saying? But they always had that hard time, but say, we still gonna come back with PNUT. You know what I'm saying? We gonna come back with lit and some more motherfucking info for you, mother. And we back. You know what I'm saying? So, PNUT, like, I wanna know, like, have you ever managed artists?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it takes to manage artists? Tell me something that the artists, like, tell us something that the artists should know about having management.
First and foremost.
Or do they need it?
Well, it depends. At the end of the day, yes. But
Okay.
it doesn't necessarily have to be the form of an actual manager. There's a lot of different levels of management.
Right.
And there's a lot of different functions of managers. But it really depends on who you are as an artist, what it is you want to do, and even deeper than that, the connections of the person who you were calling a manager. Now, say for instance you and I decide to start a rap group. Put our music together, it's hot, but we're busy. We're either in the studio, we're doing shows, things of that nature. We need somebody that's going to run to the radio station, that's going to run down, do this, going to run down, do that, blah, 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 so on and so forth. A lot of people will get a person to do that and call that their manager.
Right.
Well, that isn't really a manager because that manager is in the same position as us.
Right.
They don't have any connections. They can't open up any doors. They have to do it from the mud just like us.
Right.
If you are an artist that's starting out, your best bet is to go and find someone who's already plugged in and can get you a step further than where you are.
Right.
You know, and that's the mistake that a lot of people make starting off. They get their cousin to be their manager.
Right.
They get the club promoter down the street to be their manager, you know, and things of that nature.
Right.
Like no disrespect to that, because I've seen situations where that's worked out real well because that person just so happens to be a hustler.
Right. Right.
But you're shooting craps when you're doing that.
Right.
You know, a lot of times, what a lot of people don't realize is that in the Metroplex, there's really only 3 or 4 people that could really qualify and say that they're a manager.
Right.
There's really only 3 or 4 people that could get you on the radio with just a phone call, that could get you out of the market with just a phone call, that just by attaching their company name to you, it brings you up a level.
Right.
But there's a lot of people in the Metroplex calling themselves managers.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
A lot of people.
And they be taking their money.
Right. But I'm going to tell you what's even crazier than that. Not only taking their money, but taking their career.
Yeah.
Because you've seen the standard management contract.
Yeah.
Standard management contract is for a long time.
Yeah.
And it also encompasses the work that's done while you're with the management company. So say for instance, you make an album and larger entities are interested in you. They have to buy that manager out before they can get to you. And sometimes those record labels don't want to fuck with that. Because that management dude can put whatever price tag he wants to on you.
Right.
Now, I've seen that situation play out a lot of times. Situations where they go and they get a rinky-dink manager that is only as big as the city.
Uh-huh.
They sign a 3-year contract.
Right.
And they get a song that blows up. And Def Jam South will come knocking. Or Atlantic or Universal will come knocking. And they want to pick them up directly. And the manager is like, well, no, you got to buy me out. And he sticks a $50,000 price tag on it. You ain't going to spend $50,000 for a first-time artist before you can even put the music out.
And they're going to be like, nah,
Nah, I'm good. So then you're stuck there with that manager and didn't nobody get no bread.
Yep.
You know?
Back on the road.
But then at the same time, you also need to learn how to differentiate between what is a manager and what is an agent.
Right.
What is a manager and what is a booking agent.
Right.
What is a manager and what is a personal assistant.
Right.
You know, there's different things and different functions that artists and groups need that don't fall underneath the manager.
Right.
That falls underneath something else that people think is the manager's
Right.
job.
And then they have these managers out here thinking that they are managers, booking agents, they promoters,
Right.
they
Right.
and they out there doing all this
Right.
stuff, and then they just like, and then they trying to get a chunk of the pie too.
Right.
So it's just like, I don't know.
My personal suggestion, what I've seen that works the best, is you create your company with a team.
Mhm.
you have a team of people that have a position and a job, and that's their job.
Right.
And it leaves it open to where when you start expanding, you have a structure that can be picked up by somebody, or that can be plugged into by somebody, and you don't have to worry about all that mess.
Right.
And then on top of that, you're a self-sufficient organism, your damn self. Right. Which means that even if you don't want to mess with nobody big, you just keep growing and getting that bread, and it's a company, it's a regular company.
Right. Right.
So everybody gets a paycheck.
Right. Well, so sometimes it's hard to get people to work as that machine too. Cause you got everybody who want to be rappers.
That's true.
Or everybody who don't know what to play they parts really.
That's true.
Because a lot of people really be like I say, I've seen a lot of people trying to be rappers, singers, whatever, and also have another talent. Like I know people who can really talk and get you into clubs, that really know DJs, that I know people who really know how to promote, that really know how to get out there and put your stuff out there, but they nah.
Well, I mean, that's what happened to me. Truth be told, I'd rather just sit up in the studio all day.
Right.
I wouldn't even leave. I wouldn't hit the streets, wouldn't talk to nobody. I'm antisocial, even though people don't know it because I'm always out in people's faces.
Right.
But I'm a hermit. I don't like messing with people. I don't like being out at clubs. I don't like doing any of that stuff. I don't like being in a room with more than 50 people in it. I get paranoid. Straight up.
Is you a Pisces or something?
I'm a Virgo.
Virgo.
Yeah. I get paranoid. But
yeah.
I'm good at it.
Right.
And that was the thing. It was like I had a lot of people looking towards me for stuff.
Right.
And I didn't take that lightly.
Right.
And it was a situation where it was like, well, Peanut, you can do it. You know how to do it, blah, 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 so on and so forth.
Right.
So I had to get my ass up out the studio. I had to get my ass out in the streets. I had to go out and do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it was a wonderful experience. I learned a lot.
So that means you had to really just stop the production,
and for a long time I did.
Right.
You and I had a conversation earlier. We were talking about your equipment and programs.
Right.
Let me explain to you the story behind that. When everything ended with the Jalo project, Universal, with Red Rum, with everything that was going on.
Red Rum?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Yeah, okay, I know Red Rum. Right. They Flavor used to blast them like.
Well, Red Rum was responsible for what we had going on with Universal.
Right.
Once again, James Shepard from Experience Music. He was basically the director of operations over at Red Rum.
Okay.
He was the one that was bringing in all the artists. He was doing all the business, the whole nine. He's an amazing businessman.
Okay.
And me and him grew up together. We used to have a magazine back in the day called Starving Magazine.
Okay.
We ran it for 2 years. It was like one of the only local publications. We were the first ones to have Outkast on the cover. We were the first ones to have Biggie Smalls and Craig Mack on the cover. We were doing a lot of big stuff, but the people who were putting the money behind it couldn't figure out what they wanted to do, and they split. One group went one way, the other group went the other way.
Right.
I stayed with the group that went with James.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And James went into promotions and management and things of that nature. So when I got Jalo popping, of course it was natural. He was like, look, I got this going on with Red Rum. What we'll do is we'll put the money behind it and back it and use our connections, put it through and do this, that, and the other with it. Just cut us in for a chunk when it gets picked up.
Right.
That's basically what happened. But after all that, I was kind of burnt out.
Right.
Just everything that had happened, I was kind of burnt out, and I was looking for something different. Well, like I said, I started out DJing.
Right.
And at the time, the mixtape game was starting to pop up. DJ RPM, him and I grew up together also.
Okay, DJ RPM, shout out.
He already was big in the mixtape game. He was distributing in New York, in Atlanta.
Right, then he started off with nigga with the big with the big diamonds in his Cameron.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So he was already in the mix.
Yeah.
So me and him was sitting down one day chopping it up. He was like, "Man, why don't you start doing mixtape?" And I was like, "Man, I don't He's like, "Oh, nigga, I'm making bank off this shit."
Yeah.
I'm like, "For real? How much you making?" "Nigga, I'm making bank." I'm like, "Oh shit. Okay, well, fuck it." So go to the house, and it was the same thing that I had done back when I was messing with Cap.
Right.
I grabbed all the people who I was working with at the time, and I had them record flows over songs that were already popular.
Right.
I mixed those in with other songs, and I put together these double discs. It was a disc 1, which was the regular, and then disc 2, which was the chop and screw version.
Okay.
I package it up, make about 100, 200 copies, And at first I was selling them on the streets. Like literally I would post up at the fucking gas station.
Yeah.
The FINA over there off of Northwest Highway. I'd be over at the racetrack I'd be over at the racetrack over off of Green Oaks. I'd be over at Fuel City.
Yeah.
I'd be downtown in Deep Ellum just, you know, slanging them out.
Yeah.
And what tripped me out was that they were moving.
Yeah.
I look, man, it got so bad that I'd go pick up a girl for a date.
Right.
I ain't had no money. Ain't gonna be home. It's like, pull up to the gas station, pretend like I'm getting gas.
Right.
Run up to the front of the store for like about 10, 15 minutes, then a quick $100, come back, go the rest of the day. That's how fast they were moving back then.
Because everybody about that knocking their system then, you know what I'm saying? About putting that system in your car then screens.
So then, my brother Boogie started getting into it at the same time. So me and him linked up and we started going out to Traders Village and started knocking off scenes out of Traders Village. That took us to another level because we had access to more money.
Right.
We were making like 3-4 G's a weekend out of Traders Village just off of CDs.
Right.
Then through the week, I was hitting the streets making another G or so. So I was making more money fluidly than I was in chunks producing.
Right.
So I was like, shit, I'm good. You know, so I'm gonna do this.
Right.
So when I was doing Jalo's project, there was an artist, a little young cat that used to work at Eargasm. He was calling himself TB at the time. No, listen. This is an interesting story. He called himself TB at the time. He came to me, he was like, I want to be a rapper. And I was like, alright. He was like, you take me to the studio. Yeah, I'll take you. Took him over to my studio. We recorded this song. The song was terrible. Everybody, like, look, I kid you not. I argued with about 20 people over the fact that I did that song for him. They're like, man, let's change his name to Teflon.
Teflon Don.
Teflon, the boot Teflon.
Yeah, okay.
So what he did was he changed his name to Teflon. He started DJing also started like picking up little youngsters that were popular in the area, having them do features on his songs, the whole nine. He put out a song called The Boot that blew up.
Okay.
So at that time, I reached out to him because he was doing something that none of us were doing. He was doing distribution with stores. Like he had a list of all the mom and pop stores in Texas, fuck the Metroplex in Texas. And he came pick me up one day and he just showed me the whole game. He was going up, talking to the people, introduced me to the managers, the whole nine. So I flipped my game. I went out and started getting more equipment and I started manufacturing for the stores. And that took me to another level.
Right.
So I'm going from moving about 200 units a week to moving 2,000 units a week.
Right.
And the mixtape's spreading out and everybody knowing not only my name, but the names of the artists that I put on it.
Right.
And the movement. Ticketmaster, he started out with me.
Okay.
DJ D Real, he started out with me.
Shout
I
out.
started out with G-Rock.
G-Rock.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout
We were
out
all
G-Rock,
underneath the Texas
yeah.
Trill DJs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? DJ Frosty started out with me. All of us, we at the time, we were all just basically a group of DJs that were realizing that we were in control. We had power. We could make money now.
Right.
So I'm so busy making mixtapes. The only time I was really producing and engineering was when it had something to do with one of my mixtapes. Did that for I did that for damn near 8 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We were making big paper. Well, of course, you know, when streams start coming out and MP3s and everybody starts downloading, it changes the game. It takes it and you have to put it on a digital platform now.
Right.
You can't just press up CDs and think you're going to make the same amount of money.
Right.
It's all about branding at this point to where you get with the artists that you're dealing with. You have them give you money for the pub because you got a name. You put a mixtape out, you guaranteed you're going to get about 10,000 downloads. This is a new artist that doesn't have any pub yet. Shoots you a couple of dollars for you to break his stuff on the mixtape, and that's how you make your bread now instead of making it directly off the sale. So when the platform changed and it became more digital, it also expanded the things that you can do.
Yes.
As a producer, now you can put your stuff on YouTube and SoundCloud, and if you set your stuff up correctly, you're going to get paid off the hits that come to your YouTube of people that just wanting to listen. I mean, dude, this is the beauty of it. Even if they don't rap to your stuff, or even if they don't, just by them clicking on it to check it out and see if they like it or not, you get a hit.
Yeah.
There's cats out there like Panacho, every time they put a beat out, they get like 2.5 million hits on the beat. whether people like it or not, because people are looking to see if
Right.
it's the next hot joint.
Right.
They getting paid for that.
Right.
Not to mention they get paid when they sell it. So I'm looking at it like, shoot, man, this is a giant paycheck waiting to get cash.
Right.
So
right.
I hopped my ass back into the studio and started doing more production and more engineering and things of that nature because I wanted to cash that check.
That's for cash that check.
But the wonderful, the weird part about it was a learning curve because I go from a foundation of outboard, ASR 10s, MPCs, SP 1200s, Kurzweil K 2500s, W30s, different components that you MIDI together to create one sound. You're actually playing it in real time. To go into a laptop and the keys and being like, okay, I got to program now and drag and click and this is that and the other. Now it messes off your groove when you come from that, but at the same time you got more stuff that you can do now.
Right.
Like if you could think it, you can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Whatever you think, you can do it. And that's the thing. I mean that's elevation. You know what I'm saying? But now and too, like I say too, the game too, they still cater for people that comes from like you say SP 1200s and everything like that. They got stuff for that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like me, if you see, I got the car back there like the MPC.
Yo man, this cat setup is sick. This cat setup is sick, yo.
Man, say I'll be trying. You know what I'm saying? But it like I tell everybody though. Long as you got like you say, you got the love for it. You know what you're doing, man. You can accomplish anything, man.
Yeah.
It was special any program these days. I mean, just think about it, man. Back then, we used to have big old computer screens, fat square screens. You know what I'm saying? With little programs on there. Used to have little MIDI like that and shit like that. You remember the Triton used to come with where you have to when you make the beat on the Triton and you have to go to the other page and try to lay your beat out.
On the ASR 10, you used to have to chop your samples by numbers. You would like load it in, and you had, depending on how many megs of RAM you had in your ASR 10, you had anywhere from 6 seconds to 16 seconds to sample something. If you did it in stereo, it cut it in half. So you always sample in mono. And a lot of times what we do is speed the record up as fast as possible, sample it fast, and then slow it down among the keys. But when you want to chop it up, you weren't chopping it up by the wave. You had a starting number of the sample and an ending number of the sample. You had to knock those numbers down until you got the correct loop. You couldn't even see what you were doing. You had to hear it.
You had to hear it.
Like literally, you had to feel the break.
You
know what I'm saying? But the weird part about it is that when you come from that foundation, you get used to feeling like a DJ. Like if you ask any DJ that is a turntablist that cuts, you feel the groove of the record and the cut that you're doing. You actually feel the word by the vibration of the turntable. Then you turn around and you have a DJ controller, not a turntable. You got to figure out how to make that same sound, but you're not feeling it. But you can see it. So you got to figure out how to switch your senses. It's like going blind. And
you're talking like Serato, you can see the it's thorough. You know what I'm saying? But I couldn't get deep. Like I ain't no DJ, but I done tried my little. I mean, people like, man, you can do it. I be like, man, whatever, because these programs come out. But I'm like, nah, man, you gotta leave that shit to the DJ, man. But I know it's a hard task coming from vinyl and then going to like a CD. Remember when they got the CD DJs?
Yeah, and I did that too. I did the CDJs for a while. The CDJs actually weren't that bad because I had the CDJ 1000s that had the turntable plate on it. So it was only a little bit of a learning curve from that. But then when it went to full Serato, I did not DJ Serato until it became industry standard. Like it got to the point where I couldn't show up to gigs anymore and not have Serato. I'm showing up to gigs with my turntable and 3 big ass books of CDs, and the nigga who I'm DJing with shows up with a laptop and a damn card, and I'm like, oh man, I need to quit being a damn senior citizen with this shit to get on board. But
no, that's real.
That's real. That's real.
I mean, when a nigga did that with them keyboards, them niggas like, man, fuck carrying these big ass keyboards to the studio.
You gonna carry a big ass keyboard, or you gonna carry your damn USB drive? Come on, man. It's common sense. It's common sense. And see, a lot of people are scared of technology. Like they're scared of change. My thing is this: if something comes out that makes your job easier, there is no shame in taking that shortcut. It doesn't diminish your talent.
Right.
It doesn't diminish your creativity. It just gives you an opportunity to make your creativity better.
Right.
You know, there's no reason why you have to dumb it down just because you have a different form of doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I talk all this noise about the new technologies and things of that nature, but I love it.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I'm over at the crib programming, like reprogramming my programs and getting all this straight, this, that, and the other. I done gone to YouTube University. I'm clicking on it, looking at everything, and learning how to do this and blah, 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 so on and so forth. And it's making my shit fire.
But you know what be so fucked up is when you get used to the technology, then you be trying to go back to that analog sound. And you be like, damn, well my analog shit, you know what I'm saying? But
you know who's a master of that?
Who that?
Madaku.
Madaku?
Madaku
turn
was,
me on.
yeah,
Okay.
Madaku, he basically produced damn near all of Erykah's hits.
Okay.
He's
okay.
out over on the other side of Deep Ellum right now. He's got a studio and a photography spot over there.
Okay, Madaku.
Bro,
Shout out.
if you go in the Madaku studio right now, it is the most amazing blend of analog and digital you've ever seen in your life, because he has every single outboard component you could possibly imagine. But the way he has them hooked up, they're all hooked in through the computer.
Right.
And the sound he gets out of there is just
Plush.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
That's the whole
Madaku,
whole thing.
Steve Paul.
Yeah, Steve Paul, Deep Ellum.
Yep.
I mess with Steve Paul.
Steve Paul.
I like him.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you for, you know what I'm saying, some techniques and, you know, that the stressor.
Steve Paul was the first studio I ever went to back when his studio was in Arlington.
Oh, okay.
First person I ever recorded with.
Okay.
Ty Macklin from Alpha Omega Studios out in Fort Worth.
Okay, I know of Alpha Omega, but I don't know Ty though.
Right. DJ Snake.
DJ Snake, okay, yeah, shout out DJ Snake. That's that's OG.
Hands down.
Yeah.
These cats, their setups and their engineering techniques and their production techniques
Right.
are literally the perfect blend of analog and digital.
Right.
And that's the reason why when you go to their studios and you get their stuff, the sound sounds so much different.
It's just
and
full.
fat.
It's just fat. Because the analog on all, it's just something about them machines. It's, just, it's already built like that.
Yep.
And all you do just, so you can just sit there all day and just, nigga, you hear that?
Yep.
Nigga, look, watch this. Whoa.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? In technology, you got to find where it's at. And like, damn, and like, it don't really, well, it sounds like it, but it ain't, it ain't, you know what I'm saying? But once you start learning, if you've been messing with analog, like coming from analog like that, you'll kind of know how to do that technology. You'll kind of know the ins and outs and how to just boost it up. But so what you got going on right now?
Right now we got the Weed House popping.
Okay.
Out in Grand Prairie.
Right on. Shout out to the Weed
yeah.
House.
30 seconds.
We're going to talk more about the Weed House right quick. Hold on. We got 30 seconds, but we're going to cut out a little early because I want to talk about this Weed House, man.
What's a weed?
The Weed House, man. It's like a compound, man. You know what I'm saying? And we was talking about the weed.
That's what I'm working on today. That's what we're doing. It's basically a combination of a lot of different people and movements. It's a 2-3 media group endeavor. What we did was we used to have a radio show back in the day called WED 200.3, the highest station on the FM dial, and we broke a lot of music through there, and it was a street platform. We would do DVDs and CDs and spread them out along with the mixtapes. Well, we decided we want to turn that into a digital streaming situation for the new age, and we attached a studio to it. A lot of different things. You know, there's going to be a lot coming from the Weed House in the next couple of years. We're working with a lot of young artists. We're also still working with ourselves. You know, we're still doing Boogeyman, we're still doing Dirty Red, we're still doing Rick Fontaine. We got my godson, ex Draco. We went down and ripped it at South by Southwest this weekend. We got Nova, aka Casanova. We got Sway Easy. Still working with all of the same groups from Campus Kings, you know what I'm saying? Still working with Ronnie, still working with Fat Pimp, you know, still working with Trey Ward, still working with, you know, everybody in the CKB family, Campus Kings family. I'm still doing my graphics. Everybody knows CDs, covers, prints, all that. Come holler at your boy.
Tell them where they can get it from.
Come visit me on Instagram at pdigital74 on Instagram, and then Twitter, DJ Peanut 74, and then you can also get me at Stephen DJ Peanut Taylor on Facebook, or just hit me up directly, pdigital817@gmail.com. But Instagram is the best way to get it. I'm on there 24/7.
You know that IG.
Yeah,
You know.
IG. Matter of fact, some of y'all watch me live right now. So.
You know what I'm saying? IG. You know what I'm talking about? That's what's moving right now, the IG. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the IG moving right now.
Yo, the whatchamacallit, Snapchat's a beast too though.
Yeah, Snapchat a beast.
Snapchat a beast.
Yeah.
Snapchat's a beast.
I've been up on that Up Live too.
Right.
I don't know if you heard about that. That's some new little thing they got
Yeah.
going on.
You know, Frosty's on
overseas.
that. Frosty's on that right now.
Oh, okay.
You know, because Frosty is overseas a lot. He's in Germany a lot.
Right.
He's in Japan a lot. You know what I'm saying? He's in England a lot. So
Okay, I'm
he's
follow you, Frosty.
yeah, DJ Frosty,
Yeah,
214.
okay. 214, yeah.
He does a lot of international stuff. So he comes back. He always laces me up a game when he gets back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He always has a lot popping.
Right.
And you know, it's amazing. How many opportunities there are out there now
Right.
for independence, and how much money there is out there now for independence.
Ain't it though? And why we say that's my thing. It's so much out there. Why it's so hard?
I'm gonna do it like this, just to give you an indication. I have not collected a paycheck from another company since 2002. I've made nothing but music money since 2002, and everybody knows me knows I live pretty well. So that's an indication of what you can do.
Right.
And I'm nobody. I'm
Right.
just, you know what I'm saying? You come to Dallas and you say, you know who Peanut is? Everybody's like, yeah, Peanut, yeah. But on the overall scheme of things, I'm nothing, yo. You know, and I am putting a kid through college, kid through high school, 4 cars, a household, and a company, just based on being able to make moves in this industry. You know, don't ever let anybody tell you that it can't be done. You just have to look at it the correct way. You have to look at it like a business. Conduct yourself like it's a business. Make your moves like it's a business. Hold yourself to task. Get up at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning and go to work for yourself the same way you would go to work for somebody else. And if you do that, you'll cash a check for yourself the same way you cash a check from somebody else.
See, there go your answer.
Wow!
It's determination, motivation,
And consistency.
and consistency. You know what I'm saying? I mean, cause everybody keeps searching for the answer, but it's like it's basically that's what it is.
There is no magic answer.
Right.
You gotta have some form of talent. I don't give a damn how many of these whack motherfuckers you see out here making it. There's somebody out there that thinks they're the truth. So that means that they have some form of talent. But if you notice, the one thing that gets them over is less about their talent and more about their determination and consistency.
Yeah.
You can hate on them all you want, but guaranteed you that whack nigga is out on the streets a half an hour before you are. And he goes to sleep a whole 2 hours after you do. So you can talk shit about him all you want to, but that nigga gonna keep whooping your talented ass.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just true, man. I mean, I see it every day. I've seen it multiple times. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, like right now, so is you gonna be focusing strictly on production, or are you gonna be doing full engineering and building your team?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it. Doing
Okay.
everything. Because see, okay, once you get older and you get to a certain point, you realize that, you know, delegation of tasks and teamwork is the most important thing.
Right. Right.
A lot of times when it comes to the engineering, I'll come through and I'll lay down the framework, and I'll have somebody else do the recording, the whole nine, and I'll come in and do the mix downs.
Right. Right.
Really, honestly, one of the only 2 things that I'm always 100% hands-on about is the actual production.
Okay.
Because it's hard for me to convey what's in my head to someone else.
Right.
I got to get on there and knock it out.
Right.
And my graphics work.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I do all that 100% myself.
Right.
Everything else is a combination of me and other people. You know, because you move faster.
Right.
You know, I can't. If I did everything by hand myself, all the things that I do through the course of a day, I wouldn't sleep. I wouldn't eat.
Right.
I wouldn't have any time for anything. You know.
That you ain't lying.
Yeah. Because everybody that knows me knows I do a lot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you go to my Instagram right now and it'll blow your mind the different advertisements and different things I have for, you know, I'm literally the one-stop shop for the Metroplex. Anything you need done, call me. If I can't do it, I could hook you up with someone who can 9 times out of 10 more inexpensive than the next motherfucker that you're gonna go to.
Right.
That's just how I make my bread. I'm the nigga in the 70s that had like all the chains and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
what you want?
Say man, I got that mixtape. Man, I ain't looking for no mixtape, man. I need to get some shoes. Oh.
Exactly.
You know
I got you.
Got you.
Ain't going
Got
nowhere.
you.
So man, that's what's up, man. So like, what do you think about investing in, or like, what is your like 5-year goal from now? Like, where you see yourself?
Right now, I'm investing in my kids. And when I say my kids, I mean my youngsters.
Right.
You know, my daughter, she's just like me, very outgoing, and you know, she had a lot of really good, cool, talented kids that she came up with, and you know, my house was the center of activity for everything.
Right.
And as they've gotten older, and seeing the possibilities of taking advantage of it, you know, like I mentioned X Draco earlier, he's doing this thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm behind him 100%.
Right.
My other youngster, Brandon, Bam, out in Fort Worth, him and his team, they basically run the party scene out in Fort Worth right now, and I put behind them. You know, I'm still out here in my prime doing my thing, but I invest behind me because it's something that TJ Miller taught me, and it's served me so many times. Me and Crack used to be amazed at how much game TJ gave us, and how much positioning he gave us. And one day we were out at lunch, and we just straight up asked him. We were like, "Why are you the way that you are, and everybody else is an asshole?" Because up until that point, you know, the game is to be sold, not to be told. You know what I'm saying? Didn't nobody tell me. Why the hell am I gonna tell you? You have to get out there and earn it, youngster. But then we get TJ, and TJ is an open damn book. You know. And he said, because I might have to work for you one day. And we were like, what? He was like, I might have to work for you one day. He said, the industry changes every 5 years. And within those 5-year intervals, people go from kings to paupers, from paupers to kings. So I'm in the position I'm in right now, today, at this moment. And I'm signing your paycheck. But when that 5-year change hits, you might be the man. And the way I treated you is how you gonna treat me later. And I might need to come to you for a job. And that thought process has served me so much over the years. I can't tell you how many people that I've helped get on, put in positions that right now are leaving me in the dust, but all it is a phone call. Oh, gee, I got you. Yeah, no, I got you. You know what I'm saying? You get out of it what you put in. Straight up.
That's some game. Man, that's game right here on lit. You know, the straight game. You know what I'm saying? Like, so TJ is more than somebody who you really inspired you.
Yeah, that was one of my mentors. You know, like I said, I was blessed with some really heavy cats coming in. They really put me down on a lot of, you know, because I always had the thought process of I can't learn more than somebody who's in the same position as me. So I always went and sought out people that I viewed as having what I was looking for.
So who inspired you to do production?
Ali Shaheed Muhammad. Ali Shaheed Muhammad. Tribe Called Quest. I'm from Queens.
Okay, cool.
And the neighborhood in Queens that I come from, Tribe Called Quest was popping. Of course, Run DMC because they were from Hollis. Large Professor and Main Source. I got a chance to chill with Ali Shaheed one time, and I just thought he was the coolest nigga in the world. Like, for real. He was, you know, real laid back, real chill, but everybody deferred to him. Like, not only was he the most chill cat in the room, but he was one of the most important cats in the room. And I just remember thinking, I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna be that nigga. Because I don't want the cameras on me 24/7. I don't want it to where I go to the grocery store and I can't, you know, go shopping in peace because people run up on me. I don't want that. But I do want the clout. I do want the power. That is definitely what I want. I want to be the most important person in the world.
Yeah, because I mean, your name already ring bells. They like, who? The infamous with the famous PNUT.
Yeah.
You know, Frederick.
Yeah. That's my dude.
Yeah, that's my boy right there. Yeah, we just had him on the show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And Frederick was like, I said, yeah, man, we had PNUT come. He was talking to him. He like, yeah, we got PNUT coming through. He like, who's talking about the infamous famous PNUT?
Man.
He like, yeah.
Nah, Betty boy, Man, you've already had him on here?
Oh man,
Yeah, so you already know this man.
Yeah.
Fetty he a beast, bro.
Yeah.
He a beast.
Yeah, man. I know, but I known Fetty from back.
Yeah.
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 You know what I'm saying?
Now that is a story in consistency.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. Fetty stayed consistent,
Yeah.
man. Like, man, because he did, man, Chrome, Rain.
Yeah.
Man, all through that mug.
Yeah.
And we used to perform, man. Sometimes we didn't even perform. We just kicked it. Like, we come through the door with support, you know what I'm saying? And just to be around that atmosphere, soaking up game, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about all the way back to Palm Beach.
Yeah.
Venice Beach.
Venice Beach.
And
Yep.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? That was all back in the
Yep.
day, you know what I'm saying? So man, I appreciate you coming out, man.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Man, they say, man, I would love to work with you, do some stuff, man.
Man, you know I'm gonna be over here.
Man, you come over here. And say, hey, you already, you already know.
I found my
man.
new hangout spot.
Oh,
like,
yeah, man.
I walked in, I saw like, oh.
Hey, that's what Paulo said, ain't it?
Yeah. Like, oh, hold up, wait a minute. Time out.
Yes.
Where am I at real quick?
So man, ain't nobody out there you want to get no shout outs to, anything you want to tell anybody before you get up off here?
Definitely shout out to my family, Campus Kings, CKB, Ricky Booker. Go check everybody out over at King of Diamonds. You know what I'm saying? That's there.
Shout out.
King of Diamonds is Fat Pimp and CKB all day long. They run the whole organization. Shout out to the whole Weed House family. Sway Easy, Casanova Nova. What up, Cece? Guys, shout her in there because she's my computer technician.
What's up, Cece?
X Draco, Bam,
he over here.
everybody out in the funk, everybody in the ag. Who else am I missing? See, if I break everybody down in the ag, I'm gonna miss somebody. They're gonna be mad. So I'm just gonna say,
Motor Soldiers. We got
Right.
OG. What's his name? OG Percy.
yeah. So if I mess with you, I'm giving you a shout out right now, and there's no slight. I just don't want to slight nobody by forgetting them. Straight up.
So that means the whole Metroplex.
Right. Right. Who else on the business side? Dirty Red, Rick Fontaine, Boogeyman, Dallas Bree. I do modeling endeavors also.
Okay.
Dallas Bree is one of the models that I deal with. Just Google her. I ain't got to
Dallas
explain her. She on top. Just Google her.
Google.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it.
Shit, well, you already know how we doing on Lit. You know what I'm saying? We out this mother.
Yeah.
What's up, world? I'm here to introduce you to my boy X Draco.
What's up?
We'll let him do his thing for a second while I go and hit this blunt.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm a new artist, you know what I'm saying? I'm from Arlington, Texas. You know, I go to school in Houston, Texas Southern University, you know what I'm saying? Shout out, you know what I'm saying? My boys made it to a tournament, you know what I'm saying? They lost to Xavier, though, you know what I'm saying? It's whatever. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm only making music for about a month now. And I already got a real good gig in Austin, you know what I'm saying? In South by Southwest. I had a gig out there performing and stuff. I did my thing out there and made pretty good connections. So, I should go check out my music on SoundCloud. You know what I'm saying? My producer just dropped it on there the other day. So, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and add my plays up, like it up, you know what I'm saying? That's it.
Let them know what your SoundCloud link is. X
I
Draco.
don't
SoundCloud X Draco.
I don't even know.
Yeah, it's X Draco on SoundCloud.
Just type in X Draco on SoundCloud. X space Draco. You know what I'm saying? Go to people. You know what I'm saying? It'll pop up right there. It's gonna be a little gun. You'll see the logo. It's gonna be tight.